Annamarie. So I grabbed a bunch of clips that we can listen to, and then as we listen to them, I will break down each one on what my thoughts are. And I listened to the entire podcast interview that she did, so you don't have to. And I have some really good bullet points that I will go over with you guys. So let's listen to the first one.
She's been able to get away with unnecessarily playing the race card so many times unchallenged, because who can challenge her, right? The other ladies can't challenge her. So I think that's been her play for so long. So then when I'm there, and as a Black woman, I can say, you know what? Why didn't you speak out about my microaggressions, or at least support me? And she didn't like that, right? She didn't like that at all. And, so I think that, sorry, I'm just like having a little brain fart here.
No. I think what you're saying is the fact that it was unfortunate because you came on the show,
yeah,
and obviously, you know, there's another Black woman there. Again, the audience was excited. Yes, Garcelle, you have somebody at least that can relate to you on these issues. And you're telling me that the stuff we did not see on the show, oftentimes she never once supported you.
Okay, you guys. So that was a clip from Annamarie talking to Carlos King. So I'm going to break down what she was saying. She basically was saying that Garcelle plays the Black card and that no one on the cast can call her on it because they're all white and she's Black. But then she can come in and call her on it. I personally thought it was very disappointing that, because I really do like Carlos King, but I thought it was very disappointing that he would even co-sign that crap. Because first of all, Garcelle has suffered from multiple documented microaggressions on that show, from Kyle, from Dorit, from Lisa Rinna, and she's really had to bear that brunt of it and speak up about everything going on. What happened to her child? Don't forget, her child had the whole cyber attack, and we'd have our foot on your neck if it wasn't for your white daddy. They were saying this to her son. It was awful. So it has been documented what has happened to Garcelle and her family because of her race on that show. Comparing that and comparing the documented microaggressions from Dorit, which has been a pattern of behavior with her against Garcelle, to Sutton saying to Annemarie, oh, stop yelling at me, when she was yelling at her about her own medical condition at her own party, is absolutely ridiculous and disgusting. And it's really apples to oranges. And I'm going to tell you what I think is really going on here. Annemarie went on this podcast show with Carlos and completely lost the plot. She blamed everybody under the sun for the reason why she got fired and would not be returning to the show. I'm confused. Number one, Annemarie, like you said, you didn't seek it out. You didn't audition. You know, Kyle was the one who got you in. Why are you and your husband, because your husband has also been out here on social media acting crazy and like a damn fool, going after women, which is always a horrible look. Anytime a man goes after a woman in any context is horrible. Why are you and your husband so pressed about this? Annemarie is acting like she's been on this show since season 1. Like she's more pressed about being fired than like Nene or Vicky, like the actual, or like Ramona, like the actual OGs. You were on the show for 2/3 of a season and you said that they found you and you didn't actually seek it out. Why are you so mad? Why are you and your husband so mad about this? It's absolutely ridiculous. Also, what is ridiculous is her trying to blame everybody, but I'm going to tell you the real person she should blame for getting fired. But she took this entire interview. She blamed Garcelle. She blamed editing. She blamed Crystal. She blamed everybody but Kyle. Because let's be clear, Annemarie came in this entire season, the whole 2/3 of the season that she was on, and she was Kyle's mouthpiece. You came in like a bull in a china shop, going after Sutton, going after Crystal. You weren't interested in being friends with Garcelle. And why would Garcelle want to be friends with you when you're going after her best friend like you know her and you really don't even know her like that? Just because you both are Black women doesn't mean that Garcelle is not going to stand by her actual real friend when you are systematically attacking her. And you're also lying in the interview because you said before that Garcelle was very welcoming to you. When Garcelle stopped being welcoming to you was when you started acting like a damn fool about Sutton's esophagus and lying about your profession and just being a weirdo and being a mouthpiece for Kyle. So you messed up your entire season. The reason why you're not being brought back is because you were Kyle's mouthpiece and you didn't show your family and you didn't show your personality and you didn't show other aspects of you about being biracial, about being adopted. It's great that you're talking about it now, but did you really film that stuff? Like, I don't believe any word that comes out of your mouth, because you're also lying, because you're saying that you talked about your mother having a tumor on camera, but they didn't air it. But at the reunion, you said you didn't say anything during filming because you wanted to compartmentalize everything. So which is it? Are you telling the truth at the reunion that you didn't tell anybody? Or are you telling the truth now that they filmed it, but that they never showed anything other than just you talking about Sutton's esophagus? Doesn't make any sense. Another problem with Annamarie is she went from being Kyle's mouthpiece to now clearly Dorit's mouthpiece. She spent this entire hour and a half with Carlos calling Garcelle a bully, saying that she wanted to be the only Black girl on the show, that she played the Black card too much, and that nobody could ever go against Garcelle, which is a bunch of BS. Erica has gone against Garcelle. Lisa has gone against Garcelle. Kyle has gone against Garcelle. Dorit tries to go against Garcelle. Just because they're not successful doesn't mean that they don't try. And the only person that has been directly talked about when it comes to race, when it comes to Garcelle, has been Dorit, calling her an unconscious Karen. Garcelle had a good conversation with Kyle when Kyle said the whole thing, oh, you didn't pay for the charity or whatever. And Garcelle was like, well, when you say that to a Black person in a white space, it's a different connotation given different stereotypes about Black people not paying their bills. But she never came to Kyle saying, Kyle, you are a racist or you are a Karen. She was just having a conversation with Kyle, giving her cultural context that Kyle may not have had. So you're saying Garcelle can't play the Black card, but you can play the Black card when it's convenient for you. Also at the reunion, you were defending Dorit. You know, first of all, why would Garcelle step in with Sutton saying, you're yelling at me when you were yelling at her at the party? And that's Sutton's friend. And nobody came against Dorit on Garcelle's behalf except for Garcelle. And that's what Garcelle said. She's like, you could speak up for yourself. I'm speaking up for myself. And then in the whole interview, she's basically just pandering, her favorite word of the interview, to Dorit. It was just absolutely bizarre and weird and cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to me. And I was really, really disappointed in Carlos that he was buying into this crap. I was like, wait, I'm so confused. Like, he actually asked her, do you think Garcelle just wanted to be the only Black woman on the show? No. Obviously not. Remember Garcelle brought in her friend Cherie Zampino, Will Smith's ex, to be on the show with her. That was another Black woman. But Cherie, just like Annamarie, picked the wrong side. Because the reason why Garcelle stopped messing with Cherie was because Cherie was posting with Diana Jenkins, because Cherie thought she was going to get some money and a come up by aligning herself with like Diana and Erica and Lisa Rinna during all of that. And Garcelle was basically like, you're my friend. You know, these people did a cyber attack on my children, and now you're kikiing and posting with them on social media for clout. Same exact thing with Annamarie. First, you came in as Kyle's mouthpiece, and now because you're fired, you're clearly Dorit's mouthpiece. Like, I was so confused. I was like, am I talking to Annamarie or am I talking to Dorit's publicist who has a bone to pick with Garcelle? And I think she's lying through her teeth when it comes to Crystal. Do I think Crystal called the women uneducated? 100%. Do I think Crystal said to her, hi, I'm a housewife. Oh, Lisa Rinna lies all the time and it's no big deal. and I just was lying because I wanted to create drama so I'll be asked back next season. No, because nobody talks like that, and Crystal doesn't talk like that. Like, this isn't like a, scripted, villain show where the bad guys are like, let's lay out our whole evil plan and like, let's tell you so you can divert it. No, doesn't make any sense. But let's watch some more clips so you can hear it from the horse's mouth, and we will dissect more. Here we go.
From Garcelle and Crystal, which I found very suspicious. It went back to when we were at the reunion, and when I, called out the double standard or the hypocrisy of Garcelle, labeling Dorit a Karen because she used the word attack when she talked about her. And when I said, why is it that when Dorit says that to you, it's not okay? And let me also say this. The first thing I said was that I agreed with Garcelle. You should not call Black women angry, and you should not call Black women aggressive. I said, I agree with that, Garcelle. But I also want to point out this. Why is it that when Dorit does it to you, it's not okay? But when Sutton does it to me, no one says anything. You didn't even say anything. You didn't stand up for me, and you didn't say anything.
What did she say to that? Because I watched that reunion, and they never.
What she said. So she
never aired the comment.
That's what she said. In that article, it says what she said. She said, "Oh, you want to know why? Because as soon as I found out that you were best friends with Candace Owens, I decided I don't mess with you. You hear that, Bravo? You better leave that in, Bravo." What she said. I walk out of the Chanel store. All the girls from the Chanel store were shopping, and she's outside, and production's not there, and there's no cameras, anything. I walk out, and she's acting normal. And this is like halfway there. We're in like Heathrow or something, right? She's acting normal, and we haven't spoken since a week before at Dorit's event when she called me a B word and accused me of title misappropriation or misrepresentation. And she's acting normal. I'm like, Crystal, like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is my career. Like, this isn't funny, And she's like, no, it's fine. Like, Lisa Rinna used to make up stuff all the time. It's totally fine. I'm just so happy because now I have a storyline. I have my drama for the year, and I'll get to come back next year. Verbatim.
Yikes. Yeah, I don't believe a word she said. Just sounds like a bunch of crap. So I'm actually like so tired of her lies, but I'm going to do a couple more highlights of what I picked out from her conversation with Carlos. And then I'm going to dissect what her husband said, which is absolutely crazy. And then I'm going to get into the real reason why I think that she was fired, which I'm actually shocked that they didn't even touch on in the entire video. Okay. So first off, like I'm saying, she blames everybody but Kyle, and she blames everybody but herself. And I'm going to tell you what the real reason why I think that she got fired. Also, let's go with what her husband said. So this is from, 1 second, guys. Reality Blurb. It says, Annamarie Wiley's husband, Marcus Wiley, took aim at Crystal Kong-Minkoff and Garcelle Bouvet in a post shared on X, formerly known as Twitter, on Tuesday following his wife's sudden exit from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. After Annamarie, 41, was accused of being fired from the Bravo reality series due to her political views, namely her reported support of Donald Trump and views on transgender athletes, Marcus lashed out at Crystal, 41, accusing her of using the N-word. He also lashed out at Garcelle, 57, suggesting that she's the series' first Black cast member isn't as, quote, pro-Black as she makes herself out to be. Quote, look at these BSers opening up Pandora's box, Marcellus began on Twitter. Crystal knows damn well my wife is not a Trump supporter, but even if she was, who the hell are you to politically police her? Crystal also knows her virtue signaling SS, shouldn't be saying the N-word in videos, a word I don't know, a word I don't even use, but she was. Worse, she doubles down on dumb by implying to my wife who she has to vote for since she's Black, he continued, adding a hashtag Crystal Biden. Okay. And Garcelle puts the con in confused, acts pro-Black, but says hating on Black women in a desperate attempt, but stays hating on Black women in a desperate attempt to stay fancy on a show with no Blacks, he added. Marcel went on to say that The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was a horrible fit for Annamarie and suggest that the cast is filled with fakes. Now, I'm going to keep going with what he said, but if the cast is full of fakes, and you hate Garcelle so much, and there's no Blacks, in his word, on the show, why are you and your wife so pressed that she got fired? Why do you care so much if the show is so horrible and all the people on it are so horrible and it's a horrible fit for your wife? Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't diagnose, but this is giving narcissism on such a huge scale. It's not even funny. Not even funny. Let's be real. My wife wasn't good on Housewives. Personally, I'm glad she's off the show. She was a horrible fit. We all saw it, and it was obvious why. It's impossible to truly know how fake you have to actually be a real housewife, he stated. Ooh, somebody got their panties in a bunch. Marcellus's post came in response to a report in which it was alleged that Annamarie had butted heads with her castmates behind the scenes due to her political beliefs. Again, I think the whole political beliefs story of why she got fired is a red herring. I don't think that has anything to do with why she got fired. And I'm going to tell you why I think she got fired right after this article. A cast member having polarizing views and the ladies taking her to task would have been part of a juicy storyline on any Real Housewives franchise. But after politics railroaded season 13 of the Real Housewives of New York City cast, producers just edited all of those segments out of the Beverly Hills season, a source told the Daily Mail on March 26. That's not 100% true. What happened on the Real Housewives of New York City it wasn't necessarily politics, it was more race, because there was a woman, I believe she was like a Jewish matchmaker, I forget what her name was. She was cast for the show. She was really good friends with Aaron on the show, but she had beef with Brynn, I think, and she ended up saying the N-word. Either she said it or her husband said it or something like that came out, and that's why she got fired. So it actually had nothing to do with politics. Because again, I think that Bravo and NBC, they're trying to stay away from like the big topics. Like that's the reason why they edited out all of the conversations that Annamarie had and her husband and the rest of the women about their transgender issues. I don't think Bravo or NBC really wanted that smoke, to even air it. They didn't want the conversation open. They didn't want the gateway open, right? Which I totally understand. But the reason why I think that he still goes on a freaking rant, but he is such a weirdo on this one. The reason why I think that Annamarie was fired, it actually has nothing to do with her being a mouthpiece for Kyle. It has nothing to do with her talking about Sutton's esophagus. It has nothing to do with her and her husband's transgender's views. It has nothing to do with her being an alleged Trump supporter. She got fired, in my personal opinion, because of the sexual A word, you guys know what I'm saying, sexual encounters without a person's consent or a woman's consent, lawsuits and allegations against her husband. I think that is the core reason why she was not asked back. Bravo and NBC did not want the smoke of having her film and be on a TV show when her husband is actively being sued or allegations against, or whatever the case may be, for sexual taking, you know what I mean, for SA. You see, you know what I'm saying. I don't want to say the word on my channel because sometimes they dock you for that. That is the core reason why I think she was fired. I'm super confused as to why Carlos did not ask her about this. How did she talk to him for an hour and 20 minutes without that big elephant in the room not being brought up? Her and her husband want to get up here and blame beautiful Garcelle, blame Crystal, blame the producers for editing. She got a bad edit. Blame everybody but him for having these allegations against him. Now, this is the gag. I think that if her husband had fraud allegations, a la Tom Girardi, a la Mauricio Umansky, a la all of the majority of them, if it has something to do with money laundering or fraud or bankruptcy or anything like that, or cheating, unfortunately, that's the type of dark drama juice that I think would have actually kept her on the show. Look at Portia on Atlanta. Now she's going through this high-profile, messy divorce from fraudster Simon Gubadier, and everyone's like, oh, she's going to have a storyline now. Like, why is it that fraud and having an abusive husband all of a sudden mean you have juicy storylines? Like, why do we want that? Why are we glorifying that? But unfortunately, that's what it's come to, right? So, and then being like, we wanted to show Black wealth and blah, 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 blah. Well, then show that. Show that. That's why you didn't get asked back. Number one, you were boring as hell. Number two, you were Kyle's mouthpiece, and that seat always gets taken out. Now you're Dorit's mouthpiece. You're lying about what was shown about your mother's death. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm saying that you just were lying because it's literally on tape. And you going against the only other Black girl on the show, Garcelle, but yet you want to say just because she's Black, she should have had my back. But she's the only Black girl on the show, and she's the one, and you never had her back. I never saw you once defend Garcelle against Dorit. I never saw you once try to get to know Garcelle. So why are you now trying to go against her and make up lies about Crystal? I don't for 1 second think Crystal said, Lisa Rinna lied all the time, and now I have my drama for the season, so I'll be brought back. That doesn't sound like how people would talk naturally. That sounds like what Dorit told you and what you are now regurgitating. I wouldn't be surprised if Annamarie and Dorit, maybe, I don't think even Erica, but I wouldn't be surprised if like Lisa Rinna, even though she's fired from the show too, I still feel like Lisa Rinna is in Dorit's ear and is in Erica's ear. And now I think in Annamarie's ear, but it just seems like she's regurgitating whatever Dorit told her. That's really what it seems like is going on here. And it was, to me, it was very, very disappointing. And the only reason why it was disappointing is because I really like Carlos King, but I felt the interview was disappointing because Carlos, just like Andy Cohen, has built a brand and a career with women's lives and women's stories, whether it's the Housewives, whether it's on, OWN or whatever it is. It's really, they've built their careers on women's stories. And for him, and not to say because he's Black and Garcelle is Black, but like, I don't know, for him to be like, do you think she wanted to be the only Black girl in the show and like co-signing she plays the Black card too much? That to me it just didn't sit well. It was just very disappointing. And then for him not to bring up the biggest elephant in the room, which is, well, do you think you were fired because your husband has, SA assault charges pending against him? Maybe Bravo and NBC is kind of tired of that look. I think that's the big reason why Diana Jenkins got fired, because they realized they did a misstep with hiring someone who has, a reputation or a history, or at least allegations of, we'll say alleged allegations of abusing children, women, trafficking, whatever you want to call it. Diana Jenkins got fired over that stuff too. So I was shocked that wasn't a question. He just seemed to like drink her Kool-Aid, and I was very disappointed because Annamarie was clearly very delusional. I think it's good that she was fired. I think what she needs to do is to get off of social media, stop doing this press tour that nobody asked her for, focus on her own mental health because she doesn't look like she's in a good place mentally, and focus on her children's mental health. Because if you are a child and your father is being publicly accused of SA, that takes a toll on your emotional and mental and spiritual psyche. I'm sure whether you believe your father, don't believe your father, you know, whatever the case, I don't know what the case is. I'm not even going to get into that because it's children and all that stuff. But that can't mentally be a healthy thing. So Annamarie, I'm going to leave you with this. Keep Garcelle's name out your damn mouth. Keep her name out your mouth. Garcelle's not the reason why you got fired. I don't even rock with Crystal like that, but also keep Crystal's name out your mouth. And also tell your husband to keep Garcelle and Crystal's name out of his mouth too. Why is he up here acting like he's holding a diamond? I'm confused. Is it Marcy Marcellus? I'm going to call him Marcy from now on. You don't have a diamond. Why are you out here maligning and bashing women? It's not a good look, boo-boo. It's really, really not. She had nothing bad to say about Kyle. The only time she even said a word about Kyle was when she was like, well, who brought up Sutton's esophagus? It was Kyle. But when I said it, I was the one who couldn't say it. Kyle brought it up to Sutton when they were fighting. And Sutton definitely got her good about bringing it up in the first place. They had a lot of fights about it. You're the only one, as a nurse pretending to be a doctor, actively said, well, she's lying. This can't be true. She can't drink on her medicine. Her esophagus, her small esophagus situation, that's not a true diagnosis. All you have to do is chew your food more. I'm a nurse. I'm a doctor. I would know. I'm going to call her on that. That's why you got clowned. You took that upon yourself. And then she also made this very bizarre correlation between like, well, me as a Black nurse in the medical field making a joke about her esophagus didn't go over well. I got bashed for it. But if Kathy Hilton would have made the joke, it would have been funny. And I was like, there's no correlation there. Number one, you never joked about Sutton's esophagus. There was nothing funny, haha, kiki about it. You were very serious as a medical profession that she was lying about her diagnosis, this, that, and a third, and you were going to tell her about yourself and you were going to call her on it. It's all on camera. It's all on tape. Roll the footage. Like Denise said, watch the show. You and Kyle sat there in Kyle's backyard. It was either Kyle, no, it was Annemarie's backyard. It was one of their backyards because they live on the same street. They were talking about it, and she was talking about some sphincter or something like that. And she's like, well, I'm going to talk to her about it. And Kyle was like, yeah. Like, that's not a joke. It's not like you did a joke that didn't land about her esophagus, and then you were dragged for the rest of the season. Your entire storyline personality was calling Sutton to task about her esophagus, going as far to say that this woman had an eating disorder. All because you were being Kyle's mouthpiece. And then you spent an hour and a half on Carlos King, which you could have been doing with, I don't know. I'm going to give you some free advice, Chick. What you should have done during this Carlos King interview and any other interview post being fired is you're gracious. I had a great time. I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes, but, it was great getting to know the girls. But, if they ask me back, I would love to, come back at some point in time. It would be great. Denise, didn't even do all of this stuff when everything happened with her. That's what you should have did. And you should have had, since you want to talk about being so smart and your husband being so strategic, instead of wasting your time bashing Garcelle and Crystal, you should have had some sort of product or platform to promote. I'm going to start my own podcast. I've started my own t-shirt line, esophagus gate, I'm going to laugh about it, go get my t-shirts, or I'm doing a hair care line, or I'm doing whatever, or I'm the board on this charity. These are the things that I'm doing now that I have this free time, even though how much free time do you have as a nurse doctor? Right? Since you're so mad you can't film anymore. Aren't you a nurse doctor? Don't you got that to do? She spent her whole time being a bitter Betty, convoluted and lying, and maligning Garcelle and Crystal. How does that make any sense? Get your head out of Crystal, and get your head out of Kyle's and Dorit's butt, get your own personality, and go away. And that's really all I have to say about her. Like, it's enough. Like, go out, work on your own mental health, Annamarie, because I don't think you're a bad person, but I do think there's something off. Like, I think she's the type of person that kind of like believes her own lie. Like, I think in her head, she thinks she's telling the truth, like the confusing lies. I don't know, but Misty says nurse doctor, right? Like, you know, like you're a nurse doctor, go nurse and doctor. I think she needs to go work on her own mental health. And I mean that from a place of like love and sincerity. We don't play about that over here. And I think she needs to go look after her children, and she needs to have some serious conversations with her husband about the allegations that he's facing. Because if you want to blame someone for being fired, Annamarie, the first person, look in the mirror, yourself. The second person is your husband. Nobody else. Nobody else. So, girl, bye. Let me see if there was any other, because I took notes on this. Let me see if there was any other points. Lying about crystals, comments. She kept saying they're virtual signaling and pandering. Maybe those are just their values. Nobody cares if you're a Republican. Like, girl, stop. What else? I think that was it. But yeah, it's just giving, it's literally just giving, you sat there for an hour and a half regurgitating Dorit's hatred for Garcelle. That's pretty much all you did. So bye-bye. So as always, let me know what you think about Annemarie being fired. Do you think Bravo made the right choice, or do you think, no, she should have been brought back for another season? We wanted more from her. You know how I feel. I think good riddance to her. Keep Garcelle and Crystal's name out of your mouth. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to the Valley. Dun, dun, dun.